do you contribute to the Hellraiser album? I mean, this was different. I know when I say what songs, the viewer will say, well, he writes all the lyrics, he does all the vocal melodies, but you have done this time more than that even there. So what songs were truly just Marc Storace's songs that you contributed to Hellraiser?
Well, there was a song which I specifically wrote for Hellraiser because I thought it needed it, and there were a couple of others which I had written before,
right?
And they were actually meant to go on my solo album,
right?
You know, so
and they were.
Hellraiser was written especially for Hellraiser,
right?
And we called the album Hellraiser, by the way, because of the song being on the soundtrack, which went to #1. So lots of exposure made it a logical choice. And the other songs were Midnight Fantasy,
right,
and Walking in the Spirit, which is a special bonus track, which is released on the special edition. And I guess you'll be hearing more of that song later on in some other places, some little things.
They will be there. What are your musical influences?
Well, I'm basically a person who likes, I hold things sacred from the past, especially from when I was first inspired by the pioneers, like people like Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Jimi Hendrix, The Who, you know, Free, and I still retain them close to my heart, and I actually prefer them to copies which are released or people that are too heavily influenced by them as my choice. You know, I can recognize when I hear new music, new rock music, where the influences are, you know, and so I prefer the original myself.
There you go. Now, with you having performed on 10 studio albums, I'm going to put you on the spot now. Overall, out of all your work you did with Crocus, what is your favorite Crocus album? What's your favorite song? They might not be on the same album.
Headhunter, Screaming in the Night.
How do you account for the renewed interest in rock and heavy metal?
I blame it on the fact that thanks to heavy metal and rock not being around for a while, it's like the same principle of you don't realize what you have until you've lost it, and this is the whole principle of the thing, because I mean, we were inundated with every other kind of music that people could invent, but the human being couldn't turn up with anything better than hard rock and heavy metal over all these years. And they started to feel that if they don't have something, they needed the cure. And the cure is hard rock, because it's made by human beings for human beings. The Martian invasion is over, you know, and we're going to go back to play with blood, sweat, and tears and soul, and handcrafted, man-made music and whatever is back in.
You're originally a Swiss band. What's the difference between touring in your homeland versus abroad? Is the Swiss crowd and you being a Swiss band, is that different from when you play anywhere else in the world, or is it the same?
No, I would say that in Switzerland and in Malta we experience a little more percentage of emotion. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we just saw it now. We've just done the concert here, and it was like a homecoming.
Right.
Actually, we never even played here before. But you can say in relation to me, because I'm Maltese and also Swiss.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Today, that's where the connection happened. Whereas in the beginning it was Crocus and me, and they thought I came from London, you know, so that's why they call me Storace instead of Storace. You know? So I think little things like these, but you know, the longer I lived in Switzerland, now I have Swiss passport. It's like now they see me as a fellow Swiss, you know, so they're
right.
There's a kind of national pride in that as well. You know?
Right, naturally.
And it's kind of harmless thing, because the rock world has really no nationalities. Music does the talking and says a lot of things that a lot of people try to say but don't manage to do.
If you look back with your experience the last 20 years, how has the music industry changed in your opinion?
Well, there's a lot more from a technology side. I think it's improved a lot. Although I'm an analog man at heart, you know. I mean, I still love the big old desks and working with 32 track tapes and all the stuff that's even more expensive than the modern. New modern stuff is so easy to handle. Like Pro Tools is one of the best inventions. That's true. But then there's a certain warmth, like in an old vinyl record, that you can't get from certain digital stuff, and there's a technical explanation to that.
Tell me this: is it more satisfying to be a touring band or a recording unit these days? Do you prefer touring? Do you prefer in the recording studio?
I love touring. I love doing nice venues with packed solid with you, our fans, and we like to get around and play in different countries, because, you know, come to your doorstep and after the concert and having a nice rocking night, we like to meet you and greet you and, you know, listen to you and, you know, face to face. I know it's not possible with everybody, but you know, touring is a very special thing. It's physically demanding, but we're fit and we're ready.
What goes through your mind when you're on stage? Explain that feeling to us. When you're on stage, you see the crowd in front of you. What goes through your mind at that moment?
Well, I come on and I try to catch the vibe, you know, see what mood they're in, and while I'm delivering, I check out what's coming back, and the more that comes back in form of gratitude and joy and joining in, you know, in the fun. Actually, basically, it has to be a fun atmosphere to give us that kickback, you know, kick us even higher, more adrenaline. What turns me on the most is when you all join in.
What inspires you, since you write also music, what inspires you to write the music? And as an add-on question, How do you come up with these lyrics? I mean, do you have the music first or you have the lyrics first?
Let